inside and out. And I think probably the best way to say it, Loco, is this one could be the best series of the day or easily the worst series of the day.
Yeah.
Really, you know, we're playing with some big stakes. In the Northeast, building his pool already in red, he's Bly.
14 supply spawning pool. That's not something we normally see in this matchup. Anyways, his opponent in the bottom left, it's KingCobra. All right, so a 14 pool, what do we make of that? So normally we see either like a 16 pool and obviously a pool after the hatchery and the gas. Now he did a double extractor trick as well inside of the main base while sending out a drone on the right side of the map. Nate, I think that this is going to be a good old proxy hatchery.
Yeah, Bly actually, he did this on Stargazers in his series against Shadone. It didn't end up working super well because that pocket base was there. Obviously, this one plays a bit differently. So the probe arrives and sees, okay, Lings are coming through. He did block the natural. But like you said, Loco, this is one of Bly's, this is like his bread and butter. If you haven't, it's like if you play StarCraft, especially at a high level, you haven't really made it until Bly is proxy hatched you. It's like for NA players, like you need cats to proxy hatch you at some point.
So what's funny here is that KingCobra blindly went gateway into Forge. So he didn't even have to think about it, right? I mean, to be fair, if you're playing against Bly, I think it's in a standard game, it wouldn't be great, but against Bly, it's a greater than 50% chance that he's going to go and do something cheeky against you. So may as well go for the Forge a little bit faster. Now that photon cannon is going to come in really handy.
It's like, I'd be offended if you didn't proxy hatch me. You know? Like,
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm not worth it? But yeah, so having the cannon there obviously is going to be nice, and he can delay this. Is that
going to be hatch? Is that what we're doing right now? Is that like the structures we're making all in a row?
Yeah, he's going full greed, and I think he might turn this hatch into an Evo chambers. He did that last week in his matches, so I'm wondering if he's going to go for the full commit to slow it down. Maybe not with the cannon. Oh, there it is. Of course. Why would I doubt it for a second?
Yeah, so he went hatch into Evo chamber block. Ooh, keeping that drone alive, actually. If he can, he will steal the gas. I've seen him steal gases so many times. Super annoying. I guess there are actually no gas anywhere in the main base to steal, but yeah, losing that second gas geyser can actually still be a bit of a disaster.
Stargate gets Stargate.
Yeah,
that's a great read for the drone. Okay. How do we feel about Bly's position then? You know more about the Zerg stuff than I do. He's going straight to 3 bases, and he knows it's a Stargate, so not a lot of things that can hurt him early.
Yeah, I think Protoss players at this point are like, haha, gotcha. I'm in a fantastic position right now. But honestly, it wasn't that big of a commitment, right? Like, he obviously slowed down his own natural and all that, and he had to cancel the hatchery, so there's some mineral lost over there. But it's not like he's in a terrible economical place right now. And I think there's a lot of Protoss players in this situation that overestimate their advantage, when in reality, I don't know if there's even really that much of an advantage at all. Like, it's just difficult to judge your position in a game of ZVP, right? And it's really hard to then decide, okay, can I actually move out on the map with these units? Like, when do I actually decide to go for a move? Decides to go Void Ray, which is not a very safe choice. Like, it's one of those, I don't want to die to anything stupid openers. Speaking of stupid, there's no Burrow coming.
So he's going into Burrow, but he hasn't built the Roach Warren yet. So is his plan to... All right, this is the longest con of all time, is he gets Burrow and then burrows the drone inside the main, and then eventually, I don't know. There's nothing he can do with that. The Void Ray should kill it.
Saving Private Drone over here. If he cancels Burrow right now, that would be fantastic, but I don't think he's... Honestly, he's already got Zerglings at the opponent's 3rd base. Yeah, there's an Oracle as a follow-up, so maybe the reason for Burrow is that he saw his opponent going Void Ray first, so he expected, okay, it's going to be another Void Ray on the back of this. Because then suddenly there wouldn't be detection out, and taking the 3rd Nexus would be quite tricky, but I don't think it's going to be too useful in this game so far.
Yeah. Down the line, if roaches come into it, or I don't know. He is Bly. Trying to predict is probably the easiest way to make ourselves look like fools. The Void Ray will go straight across, try to see what's up, maybe grab an Overlord if it can. I like the little move out. I think it makes sense that Bly's, okay, you know what? As he goes for this Overlord, Fleet Bacon in the main base. So the pan is sizzling.
Yeah.
It's time.
So 5 minutes in, we've had proxy hatcheries, we had blind forges. We're now going into a Fleet Beacon. We've had Burrow already done. Anyways.
Yeah, I forgot. He just asked Burrow already. Why not just Burrow? Why run? I don't know.
No, actually, he canceled it. He should have kept it, man. He could have burrowed the drones.
He canceled it at the last second?
Yeah. He does not actually have it. I think burrowing the drones would have actually been the play.
Okay.
Bly probably making a note of that right now. He's like, wait a second.
He just takes a second. He's got a little notebook. Just scratch that one down.
This would actually have saved a lot of those workers. This is now a ridiculous amount of damage, and you brought up the fleet beacon already. Cobra's going to need a bunch of time here in just a moment. Tempests do not build themselves very quickly, but I don't think there's lots that Bly can really do about it.
He doesn't have the Spire even started. So it's just going to be the Queens basically dealing with the most annoying poke of all time. The Overseer will be able to see this when it goes in. But like, how many Tempests is he going to build? Where else does the money go? That's not a cheap investment if he's just going to try and crank these bad boys out nonstop. I guess charge.
He really needs the Spire. You're definitely right there, because Queens are just going to get picked off, right? Like there's I think it's 5 Tempests to one-shot a Queen or something like that. And when you get to that point, it's just incredibly hard to get anything done as Zerk if you don't have a Spire. Now, he's still not planted it. And I think the main reason for that is because he opened up one gas. Bly just took all of the gases that he could on his mining bases all in one go. I think he has to go Spire, right?
He's getting roach speed and +1 melee, but yeah, exactly. It's like, well, how do you deal with the endless poke of death? Okay, there's the Spire. It's finally going up in the main base. The Oracle is almost flying past it, but just barely not. So I feel like on some level, there has to be an assumption that your opponent will try to do something about the Tempest they've scouted. But on the other hand, this game has kind of already been absolutely wild. So I don't know. Maybe he you have a little brain fart. You don't think about what that next step is. If he moves the Tempest all the way out on the map, it doesn't have the recall energy or something, that could be bad. But I think that's really the only thing he needs. Make sure he can recall if something happens, and he should be able to just move out and try to do a little bit of damage before Corruptors are done.
Yeah, the follow-up is coming too here from KingCobra. So he's ending on a lot of gateways. He's going for charge. He's chrono boosting that out, and he's going for +1 melee too, or I guess +1 ground weapons here for Protals. So while Bly is desperately trying to get as many Corruptors out as possible, okay, he's getting some roaches now too. That's really important because they're going to be needed to stop those zealots.
Yeah. Takes a good chunk out of a Spore Crawler and will be pushed back for the time. Okay, you know what? Logo, I'm upset. I think you know what I'm about to say.
What is it?
It's in the production tab for Bly.
No, I didn't realize that yet. No. Oh my! Does he not realize?
Burrow though. He hasn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't started Burrow. So,
Oh no!
I got nothing.
Yeah. For those of you wondering, Tunneling Claws only works on roaches that actually have Burrow researched. So if you don't have Burrow researched, Tunneling Claws, which is nice, it's not going to help you out very much.
It's a fun upgrade. It can be awesome, but there's
a pretty
two sides.
picture.
I mean, he's already got cannons.
Wait, he
in
goes
all of
mute
his
us.
bases too, and then he goes into mute.
That does okay. So I guess he's looking at his opponent
and 2 Stargates. Okay,
yeah, he's probably looking at the Tempest count. He's like, okay, there should have been already 6 of them at this point. So if you're only making a handful, mutas are probably going to be better. So he's going to go full counter attack. There's a mothership coming, by the way, which is going to be fantastic defense against mutas, which is not a sentence I thought I would ever say, but
it'll help. He does have static defense at all the bases, so if the mothership is just there making it hard and he doesn't bring an overseer, it could get funky. I don't really know. You're a Protoss, you see that those roaches clearly have tunneling claws, but you don't know that your opponent started and then canceled Burrow either. So what a weird game we've gotten into. Lings are going to run back over towards the third base. Mutalisks are coming to join them. A few Zealots get warped in.
He stopped target firing down to 1 pylon. In the meantime, there's a Zealot run by as well up north. Okay, those roaches are trying to get some work done. A lot of High Templar, actually. Are they going to go down? Oh, no. So the High Templar had to morph into a couple of Archons.
It looks like the mothership ends up cloaking out the third base, so he's able to kind of hold that down. Now with the Tempest and the mothership together, the Muta shouldn't be able to kill all of this. He ends up down about 10 workers. The Zealots are still alive in the north side, so he's forcing him to at least spend all the larvae on combat units. Zealots are actually hitting the east as well. A couple of the Queens have been picked off. Lings not going to do super great. He doesn't have the Carapace upgrade, so the Zealots are trading very well against them. And I still like this position for KingCobra just because he has 2 Stargates. So as long as the Lings alone don't kill him, he doesn't have a whole lot else to get aggressive with. I don't know if he started or went for the Phoenix range. I would like to see that just because, but
you want to hear something funny, Nate?
Game.
They've both lost 27 workers each. Like after all that harassment, they've both lost the exact same amount of work.
This is that anime. They both punch each other at the same time in slow motion, and it's like, oh, you knocked out my molar. Oh, you got my tooth. And well, yeah. So I feel like I feel like we advertised this one pretty well. You know, we definitely can't say that we undersold what this game would look like.
He's looking for those High Templar, isn't he? There's no way. That's almost greedy. Okay. Oh. Well, you know what? I say that. He still gets the bunch there.
2 high energy ones. Yeah. Banelings at the 3rd.
Yudo's in the meantime magic boxing against those Archons as well, and a few of them go down. How many Phoenixes do you commit to, though, at this point? That's the really tricky part. Like, you've already shown Tempest. You know your opponent is likely going to want to produce Corruptors anyways at some point. He's going an Ultralisk Cavern. What is going on?
Everybody knows that when your opponent has a Mothership in Tempest, you go Ultralisks, okay? It's just science, okay? They've done research, you know.
Just don't attack where they are. Just attack somewhere else. You know what? It's not a bad idea here. It's just not. He's not very quick on the armor upgrades. So you brought up the armor upgrades earlier against those zealots, but the ultras are really the ones that are going to benefit from those.
Very good point. Very good point. So that burst will be a little bit better at cleaning them up. And I think once he shows the mutas again, since the Phoenix are home and now he has the range, he has Anion Pulse Crystals, he should be able to clean the majority of these up. There's plenty of Phoenix, plenty of range. Flying directly into them is maybe the best way for that not to be the case, but if he keeps the control smooth, then he should be all right. He does lose a lot of the Phoenix, though, so as the Corruptors come out, that's going to take away some of the buffer for the Tempest.
That one Tunnel Claw Roach came into the natural. Well worth going for that upgrade twice.
He did finally get burrowed. Shout out to the hero Roach in the natural.
That one was 12 minutes in the making, dude. Amazing.
I mean, it's at 15 of 8 workers mining, so I think he might have actually increased the efficiency of KingCobra's mining, but it is what it is.
All right, so the unit compositions here are a little bit funky to say the least. Title's units always scare me a little bit, but it's honestly not that many, and he's still making Phoenixes. And I don't think, last time I checked, that Phoenixes are particularly great against Ultras.
No. I think no matter how many times, I know Roddy's asked for this a lot, but they cannot lift up the massive units. No matter how many Phoenix you have, there's no Megazord in this game, which we've also asked for. So that's going to be... The Zealots will have +2. He will have Chitinous with +1 Carapace. So like we were talking about with the upgrades being a little late, the Ultras are going to benefit slightly less from that. But there's just so much here that can deal with it. And he's going to go into Carriers. So the Carriers already have +2. And maybe this is even the most important thing. Normally, if these were like 3/3 Ultras, I think we could say that +2 Carriers may not be able to hurt them. But in this situation, maybe they can if he gets enough. I don't know.
Okay, so I think what KingCobra wants to do is just make one really large army and then go for a push, right? So he's going into Immortals right now, which is actually really quite important against those Ultras. Without the Immortals, the Ultras would just chomp down anything on the ground. And honestly, the High Templar here are dealing more damage than all of those flying Protoss units combined. So he does need some ground units in order to deal with this, but I wonder if he's not just containing himself in this corner just a little too much, because in the meantime, Bly has taken essentially the entire map. Cobra actually just started long distance mining the base in the bottom right as well. And he found out about a Nexus in that location.
Yeah, I think especially when you're in it, like for the Zerg player, taking that corner base and starting to get the resources. Because if this game goes long enough, that might be one of the last bases that KingCobra gets to mine. So every resource that Bly takes from it before that time is just making that end game even more difficult, since Bly hasn't taken his own corner base in the top left. So he's got a little bit more money to rely on down the line as these links go over towards the 3rd one more time. Phoenix are sent back, and they're still going to be useful for this, even if they're not necessarily great against the Corruptors. But is he going to go for the Nexus with this?
I think Cobra is being a little too slow right now, though. Because at this point, like, there was a moment where there were like 7 flying Protoss units and no Corruptors out at all. But now the Corruptor count is very quickly climbing. He's getting some decent upgrades on them as well. It's almost like KingCobra is trying to face Bly off, you know, in his own game. And he had a great start in this match, but in the mid game, he seems, a little more lost as far as the strategy goes. I mean, I say that, there's still a very good chance that we're going to see this Protoss army just bulldoze straight through the center of the map, but Bly definitely seems to be the man with a plan here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Cobra's plan is get the Death Ball, summon, warp in the Golden Armada, go for it, win the game with one giant attack. And as far as Bly's concerned, well, Cobra, he seems like he's a little bit nervous to move on that map too. Like you were saying, even when there were no air units to deal with, and he still had Phoenix and all that, he's like, I don't want to go out there. He's afraid of what goes bump in the night. But now the Corruptors are going to pee on his third base and blow that up while he moves.
I like how the strategy is it's Queen Ultralisk to transfuse the Ultras back full while counterattacking with Caustic Spray Corruptors. Like, that's the strat. It's not quite the conventional game of Zerg versus Protoss that we see. And while KingCobra does kill a hatchery here in the bottom right-hand corner as well, he loses his third base for it. And, I mean, if you're mining like 6 bases and, you know, your opponent is mining 4, I think that's a trait that Bly will gladly take.
Bly's he's feeling pretty good. His +3 melee is about to finish as well, so those Lings and Ultras become even just a little bit more scary. And meanwhile, KingCobra did get +3 on his air. I'm nervous though, because you know that attack on the third base is one thing, Loco. But next time, if he makes another little push to the southeast and those Corruptors go for the production, he could take out some of the Stargates and the key infrastructure here.
Yep.
And that's going to make things a little bit more tough, because I think you called it perfectly, but KingCobra's army is strong. It's not that fast.
So Bly can actually still max out. He's been sitting on a lot of... Okay, I was going to say, he's still sitting on a lot of resources. He finally decides to spend that extra supply on more Corruptors, which I do believe is the right call. Are there any Vipers in the mix? That would be fantastic. He's got 1. But, yeah, a lot of high tempo on the ground.
Actually. Yeah, it's got full energy, so... I don't know that. I guess you're right. Well, if he feedbacks it, it won't really matter. Maybe a couple for redundancy would be nice, or secure at least.
I think this game is delivering so far, Nate. Best game of the day, at least up to this point.
Pretty sure. Yeah, based on the reactions in chat throughout this match, I think we can confidently say this one's been. When they ask us at the end of the day,
right. You know that.
That's right. That's right. And when they ask us at the end of the day and they're like, oh, what match should we tell everybody who slept in to watch? It's going to be this one, Bly vs. KingCobra. Game of the year right here. And KingCobra's about to max out. So, you know, maybe we see him push out. Who knows? I like the Burrowed Ling in front of his base, too.
So there's 18 spores at this point. It's not uncommon, usually in the late game of ZVP. I mean, when we used to see a lot of late game anyways, for there to be like twice that many. So Bly maybe a little low on the Spore Crawler count, but he is just relentless, man. The creep spread is looking ridiculous as well. Even though at some point we're both at 27 worker kills, KingCobra is still there. Bly has now killed 101.
It's just,
I mean, he maxed out a while ago, right? Like, why did he not go for
it? Well, he's like, I'm gonna poke. I mean, honestly, he's torturing KingCobra is what it's like. He's ripping pieces of him off at a time, but he like won't kill him, you know? It's like, you won't let me live, you won't let me die sort of thing. He's just keeping KingCobra in like this stasis until he feels like he has the perfect setup. I mean, look, he's maxed out. He's got all this army, all these resources banked, perfect number of drones. And with the +3 finishing for his Carapace in both ground and air, maybe that's when he finally does it. But yeah, you're kind of right. Like there's a point here where he could be trying to at least abduct some of these units or go for like a big counter into the main with the Corruptors. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, well, the engagement is going to happen. This is like 17 minutes in the making. Ever since the proxy hatchery, KingCobra has been trying to get this army out. Is it going to be good enough? Bly not quite ready yet. He doesn't have energy yet on those Infestors. I think he's got a few more Vipers now, but I don't know where they are. I think he needs to engage with the Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, definitely, especially because of how much supply he has in the Ultras, and he's keeping them there. And like our Archon Immortal, pretty good against Ultralisks too. Like let's not pretend here. So the Corruptors are going to come in from the right side. It's going to yoink over one of the carriers. Should get a quick kill, but actually doesn't focus it immediately. So full damage should come out. Big storms landing on the Corruptors as well to keep them off of the army.
Yeah.
And KingCobra's moving into that natural expansion. He does not have a lot behind this. That fake third now, fourth, whatever, it's dead too. So this is it. KingCobra has to win with this army right here, right now. There's still 26 Corruptors though, so...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a really big deal. He's actually reinforcing this, using the mothership as well, getting some more units from the other side of the map. KingCobra going full bulldozer mode here, just tries to break the Zerg with one massive army. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job. There's more Ultras coming, but the main base of the Zerg is gone. Cobra has not been mining here for the better part of like 4 minutes. So he's in a little bit of trouble there. Bly now remaking the Spire, remaking, of course, the most important Ultralisk Cavern. Honestly, the Ultralisk Cavern, as long as the Immortals are gone, they're going to be pretty great.
He really needs more Ultralisks. I think we can all agree. That's going to help tremendously. He tried to burrow the Lings in the back of the main too. Like, he's doing everything he can to save it. Why not? Okay, burrow the Banelings under his ramp. Why not try to hit these guys when they come out?
You know, I would have liked to see a greater Spire here. I think Corruptor Broodlord would have been the move. There's been so many Ultras in this game. But yeah, the Immortal count just doesn't mess around. This Archon's also putting in a lot of work. There's, by the way, a hatchery in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
In case there's a base race.
I'm not gonna touch that one. But he's preparing for Cobra to send everything to the right side of the map and then be like, ha, my secret base is on the left, and he wants to, you know, the game didn't turn into Roach Whack-a-Mole.
That's huge,
but
that's actually
now
a big
it's a
deal.
different kind. Now it's a different kind.
Yeah, actually, hurting those Corruptors there definitely makes the engagements quite a bit more tricky. So he's actually just doubling down on Ultras.
He's gonna build 4 Ultralisks?
Yeah, he's doubling down on Ultras. I guess in his mind, he needs to get the craziest engagement, get rid of those Immortals, and then suddenly everything else on the ground falls. But look how low those Corruptors are right now. They're gonna take minutes before they're back to full.
Say that if he had a saving grace, it'd be the +3 Flyer Carapace, which is nice, but those are +3. He's got 5
That's
+3
true.
attack Immortals, and the Ling count is not really there to buffer for it anymore either. Big Storm trying to go for the.
How much does that cost again, mate?
You know, I think it's a little bit more. I think it's like 100 gas more than a battle cruiser, actually. That's how I measure the value of things in this game.
I think like 500 minerals, 500 gas, 400. That's all I got. Anyway, I'm sure guys in the chat can let us know. Spines and Spores being made on the right side of the map at the 3 o'clock position. This is where I believe the final engagement of this game will take place. Bly has got a massive supply lead, but does he have the army to actually deal with these units?
I don't know how he deals with the Immortal Archon. It's like you already pointed this out, but he doesn't have a greater Spire, so he can't recycle the Corruptors, and now it is the full Ultralisks around the Immortals on the inside of the Archons. And this might be shocking, ladies and gentlemen, but the +3 Immortals are ripping and tearing through the Ultras. One more is going to pop at the final second, but it's taking 65 damage a hit. So
that went better for Zerg than I thought it would. If I'm being honest with you, I was ready for that Zerg army to get absolutely destroyed, but Bly coming in from 2 angles actually helped him out quite a bit. But now he's got all that supply. He's got 19 Corruptors caught up in units that don't really serve him well. I mean, yeah, sure, get him stormed another time.
Eat the storm again. So he's building 1 Ultra at the other base on the left, and that will be all of his ground forces. Well, the other one is very low too, so he'll have 2 Ultralisks and 7 Zerglings. I believe most of the Lings are burrowed as well on the map.
So those Archons have 30 kills, and the Immortals have 31 and 36. Legends of the Protoss army moving forward here.
So Bly's killed 126 workers to KingCobra's 69 drones. He has not been able to rebuild a tremendous amount of those mining units. In fact, he's trying to get his spawning pool on the left side. It's we can just reset this game. No big deal. Let's just go back to basics. I think he's going to make a queen to transfuse that what's it called, the Ultralisk. He's got to spread some creep first. You know, he's got to get the creep outside of his main a little bit. Then he can take his natural. That random hatchery in the middle of the map is gone, by the way. I know everybody was really emotionally invested in that.
Yeah, so those Corruptors, man. Greater Spire would have been... I mean, it would have been great in multiple scenarios, but especially right now.
There's
honestly, letting them just get stormed may be the best move here. Like, just let them get some energy.
That's why the Spire is supposed to... That's why they call it great, man. You need it. You need the Greater Spire, because the regular one just doesn't cut it. And this is his last base. The drones are going to run. They don't really have anywhere to go, though. A Roach Horn is being built somewhere.
It's going to take a lot of caustic sprays to get rid of this Protoss base.
Yeah, it's a true base race. Maybe the slowest of all time.
Yeah, maybe worth pointing out that the win condition in a game of StarCraft 2 is killing all of your opponent's structures. There is 1 extractor on the right side of the map. So that is the only structure that Bly has at this point. And at this moment, he is... Oh, actually, no, he just started off a hatchery. He's also got that roach warren you were pointing out, but he's not quite revealed yet.
He has 2 drones in the top left. So I don't actually think that this is the worst way to do it, though, to just try and have 1 corruptor on each building and just whittle it down. Because KingCobra is out of gas. He can no longer build anything that shoots up. He dumped his last couple bucks into some zealots, but...
No, you can't do all of them at once.
Dude,
you gotta do multiple.
Just so... The efficiency is what you need. There's a lot of buildings to kill here.
Oh, recall? What's he recalling? 1 Archon? 1 Archon. I think that's really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way. And
even though KingCobra has been up with his back against the wall for the majority of this game, I think he's actually winning. I mean, I say that.
I really...
He's marching with like half his army now, right? So I think the Ultras should actually try and kill that Archon in the main base.
Yeah, maybe that's the play here. Yeah, I got nothing. He's just gonna keep building. As long as Bly has money and drones, he's not giving up. He's not out of this game. He knows KingCobra cannot really do a whole lot, and every unit that he dies is irreplaceable. Whereas Bly can afford to lose like a corruptor or 2 to keep checking.
All of these units that you're seeing right by the way of the Protoss here, the Immortals and the Archons, they have like 50 kills now each. Not the one in the main base, but the other ones that are currently in the top left.
Yeah.
But every time he finds a Pro or a Zerg base though, yeah, the rest of the Pro or the rest of the Zerg units are already elsewhere. Now that Archon is having a good time though in the main. Actually, he's gonna sacrifice corruptors. Yeah, he's sacrificing the corruptors to.
So this will reveal everything. So he'll know exactly how many structures are left to deal with, and it also guarantees that probe can't go.
Oh no, that's not where you go. Okay, he ends up losing 1 of the Ultras, and I think the second one may very well end up going down too. At the very least, it's gonna be.
This is why you get Ultralisk speed, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it saves lives. All right, I know you thought that there would be no Stim Marines in this game, but turns out it might have been nice to have.
There's +3 Zerglings with Adrenal Glands though. Oh, I guess there's still that 1 Archon. That Archon in the main base is huge. I was gonna say these guys, they can bite through those structures real quick.
And the Archon can one-shot the Lynx, so those guys can't. There's no miracle that they can do here against an Archon and a Zealot. And this is the final hatchery that's been found.
Yeah.
He did... Wait, he's got 300... Okay, so he got up to 300 minerals. Nope, there it is. GG. KingCobra takes game number 1. That's right, 30 minutes. It's only the first map, ladies and gentlemen.
That was fantastic. Wait, that was 30 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah, 28 minutes and 30 seconds.
KingCobra not particularly happy with that win.
Getting into a StarCraft game, playing that or casting that is like, you step in the hyperbolic time chamber. You come out, you're like, well, that was a good game. Everybody else is like, dude, you've been in there for it's been a while. That was a long match. And we're going into Data C for game 2. Can't wait to see what happens next. Will he finish Burrow in the first 7 minutes or not? Find out next time.
He should have, like, honestly, if he would have finished Burrow, he would have had so much more economy because that 1 Oracle did so much damage.
Yeah.
Burrow on the drones, that is, would have been quite fine. Anyways, these guys are immediately like, go, we're ready for the next game right away, and we'll be loading into the second map of the series very soon.
Whew. This is going to be a good time. This is
Predictions, Nate, what do you think?
Nope. I think... Again, I'm not going to change from what I originally said because that first game ended up being awesome. There was an equally likely probability that it would be horrible, and I think the same applies to this second game. So, Data C, you still got a lot of airspace to work with. I think the mutas are very much so on the table. I think KingCobra will probably be thinking about his late game air again too. But Bly could also just proxy hatch him and Ravager rush this time. It's impossible. He's literally impossible to predict.
All right, how many Ultras will we see in this particular game? Curious to find out. In the top right-hand corner of Data C, playing with the red Zerg drones, we have Bly.
And his opponent. In the bottom left, leading the series 1-0, he's KingCobra.
He's gonna have to upgrade to like Emperor Cobra after this if he wins it.
Yeah.
Have
you ever seen a Cobra? Have you seen a Cobra like at a zoo or anything ever? I don't think I've seen a real
but not that I
before.
recall.
I don't think I've ever seen a real Cobra before. Yeah.
You're seeing one on the screen right now.
Oh, there you go. It's an educational moment for all of us. Witness the power.
All right, so he takes the third base.
He takes the third base to start it off before the probe can get there to deny it. So he like wants him to think that he's proxying him, but since it's not in his natural, he's gonna go like, oh no, it's in my third or in my fourth, or maybe even in the corner of my main, and I somehow missed it. But he makes everything else look really normal. So if you're KingCobra and you see this, you have to assume there's a hatchery somewhere.
I'm a big fan of the big macro games, right? I love watching Serral versus Maru or something like those guys, right? Like it's not a... Wait, does he not see that? He did not actually see that. He did not get close enough to spot that hatchery. Anyways, I'm also a big fan of this, is what I'm getting at. This is peak StarCraft in my book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think again, you know, I believe some people in chat were saying that as well. So I think we're all on the right track for some good old Tuesday, I guess very, very late evening StarCraft as far as Europe is concerned. And Bly ends up on 3 hatches, building pretty much nothing other than drones. And KingCobra has no idea about anything that's happening in this game. He's got multiple probes moving around, trying to scout for whatever is happening. And as I say that, Bly's pool finishes, he's going to go straight to 8 lings and go across the map with it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, 8 Zerglings is not normally what we see either, right? So it's all those little moves that make these games very hard to predict. What if there's like 2 adepts at this point? Like, what do you do? Do you just slowly lose your units? He goes for a fort, by the way, right after the Stargate. So once again, a safety fort, probably not a bad idea.
I think against Bly, the king, you should always put a cannon on your ramp and probably in each of your mineral lines. If this game goes long enough, there will be mutas. So
yeah, he still has not seen any expansions from Zerg. Like, he has not seen the base up north. He's gonna find out about that right now. He's been going all around the map, probably expecting the hatchery to be taken anywhere, but it's just at the good old third, just without the probe block. Well, these Zerglings are getting work done, though.
It gets the Stalker. That's pretty nice. Has a little surround on the cyber core, so those probes that were out looking for him now are actually a little bit of a scoop up. Because, yeah, he just gets the nibble on the cyber core. There's a Void Ray being produced from the main base Stargate, but it's going to take a little time, so he loses that other probe.
Huge, though. If he gets that, that would be massive. He's going to get rid of those Zerglings once the Void Ray is out. But this is going to slow down Protoss a lot. And I think he's going to get it. There's nothing here available.
Yeah, this would be huge. Deny Warp Gate. And especially because we know that it went to air last game, you're also delaying air upgrades if he was going to go for them quickly, which, you know, there's lots of Protoss players that will do that. We saw that we had a fleet beacon at 4.5 minutes last game, so...
Sorry, I love the photo cannon in the main base. I was wondering why the Void Ray wasn't going straight for the Zerglings. It would like move flying around and then there's a...
And it instantly paid off.
Not what you normally see. This is dealing a lot of damage, and honestly maybe a little bit too much. That Void Ray, prismatic alignment on links, absolute classic. I guess it was still a leftover after the Overlord, but this is a lot of probes going down, and Bly still has triple hatch at home.
And KingCobra has not restarted his cybernetics core. So, like, if you're someone that's somewhat new to StarCraft, this building is what lets Protoss players play the game. So, if you can have pretty much everything. If you don't have this, you're not winning. So that's gonna be very important because he still doesn't have Warp Gate. He hasn't even started it now. So all he can do is just, I guess, build a couple of oracles and chill, chrono out some probes.
I like how Bly plants down the first creep tumor around the time as the 4th hatch also goes down. Just, yeah, a classic game.
It takes a lot of money to make that Ultralisk push. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
He
doesn't have a shield battery, by the way, because he doesn't have a cyber core.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing you need that. You need that building for him. So, Stalker dies. He's finally got some semblance of security and immediately fleet beacon. So actually I'm gonna say, yeah, killing that cybernetics core is even more important now because he probably would have actually started his +1. He probably would have started his +1 and his second Stargate by now, probably a while ago.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're actually spot on. I think you should skip the Warp Gate research. Just go straight into +1 flyer.
He's still not starting it, so he might just say screw it. He's slow built essentially.
Oh no,
I can't remember the last time.
got in. If they scout that, that's massive. Ooh.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows. The photon cannon got the Zergling. Sorry, I can't get over the photon cannon there. That's fantastic.
That photon cannon in his main base has 2 kills. Okay, he's gonna have a rank soon if he keeps this up.
Yeah. Executor photon cannon. That's the goal.
Yeah. It's like how a Widow Mine can be a commander. It's not even a sentient thing.
5th hatchery, by the way, coming up.
It's like you put out the little UV light on your porch to catch the bugs, and then it gets promoted. Just gets a medal one day. Beautiful. And Aspire starts up as he scouts KingCobra taking his 3rd.
Ring around DeRosie with the 1 probe. It stays alive, I guess. But there are now 6 hatcheries in this game. That's quite a few. I would imagine if you want to go Ultras, you don't need that, right? Queen, where are you going? Queen is going for a little stroll.
Is he gonna hatch cancel in the middle of the map for creep spread? Is it the long con? Like he's gonna send the drone after, or maybe an overlord?
Yeah, the Queen is going on a little walk, anyways. I don't know what she's doing, but I like everything about it.
Yeah.
It's important.
Okay, so we've got 2 carriers being built at a time.
I think you're actually right. He's actually doing this on purpose. Yeah, he's dropping creep right now in the middle of the map to provide some.
So to get it around the rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think it goes. I think if he puts the tumor at the edge of the creep before the rocks, it still goes through. But okay, I mean, yeah, I get it.
Anyway, 6 probes end up going down right here to a bunch of Zerglings.
So, Loco, can I ask you a question? He has 2 Stargates, the Cybernetics core, everything that happened in this game. And then he does just get the most late warp gate of all time. But now he has carriers, and I don't know. I actually feel like you were totally on point saying he should just go straight to air attack. Because, yeah.
I don't really see, I think KingCobra is going to go for a similar plan as he did in the previous game, rather. In the next game, that'd be impressive if I knew what was going to happen there. But I think his plan is basically another 15 minutes of sitting back, trying to make a big army with a couple attacks here and there. Problem is that Bly has already taken 5 bases, right? Like, he's already dealt a lot of damage, too. He's not quite in a game-winning position yet, but he's going for Corruptors much quicker now. So I feel like without those air attacks, is there going to be a Queen attack? Is that what we're doing? Queen Zergling Corruptor?
He has been pushing that creep highway like we talked about. He's got it crossing over onto KingCobra's side of the map. That Overlord is still moving with the Queen as well.
I can't believe I was questioning that Queen's motives. It was actually on purpose. I thought she was going for a little stroll.
Pushes up like his glasses, and there's like the glint, and it's just like it's 10 steps ahead. He was secretly planning this 2 episodes ago. None of us saw it coming.
Yeah. Okay, these Zerglings, there is something in the wall. But once these Corruptors take care of the carriers, there's only 3 of them. What exactly do you do? There's nothing else.
And it's kind of an anti-timing because he waited, so the +1 at air is still not done. He's going for the Stargate as the first choice. But I think, like you were saying, the Corruptors can fight against this, as there's really not that much in the air for KingCobra. The Void Rays get popped very quickly, and especially with the creep to transfuse, 3 carriers with no upgrades aren't going to kill him that fast.
Yeah, this is a very creative push here from Bly, but it makes a lot of sense. He's seen in the previous game what his opponent likes to go for, so if it's once again going to be a passive game, he can certainly abuse that. There we go. Carriers get popped 1 at a time. Bly wins game number 2.
GG to Bly, and another wild one. This really is turning into matchup of the year, and unsurprisingly, it had to go to game 3. Look, they're so... We've got 2 players that can just bring it to each other to such a level. How could it have not gotten to a 3rd map? I just want to know what the 3rd map is. I want to see something else wild. It's going to be Waterfall.
It's the map with I believe the shortest rush distance from base to base. Could definitely be used, but wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a quick fort once again. I do believe, though, that Bly must be feeling pretty comfortable right now, right? Like, game number 1 was unfortunate, I think, in his mind. He probably didn't like that one too much. But it's not like he played that game poorly. He just, got a little carried away making Ultras. Game number 2, though, was very comfortable, I think.
Yeah. So we've got everybody loaded in, and I just want to know what's going to happen. You mentioned the rush distance. We got ramps leading into the natural. That third base can be really hard to attack on that high ground. So if they want to drag it out, it'll be a little tricky at first. If he gets to that point where he can get a cannon in every base, then maybe. I just feel like that's where it has to go. KingCobra wants to take it to that. I'm going to max out, get a huge Protoss air army. And to his credit, especially in the first game, he rounded it off very nicely. He still had 5+3 attack immortals. It's not like he just built them as an afterthought. It's not like he, got the upgrades for nothing. He was pretty well rounded. So he just needs time to get that army out. And I think we're going to see here the Zerg player probably try not to let him sit back and max on carriers. He is in the top right in red. He's Bly.
And the opponent, playing with the blue Protoss pieces, it's KingCobra. I like, by the way, the identical reaction from the both of them when they won that game. Yeah. Neither of them seemed to look any different when the game ended at all.
You can really tell how emotionally stressing this is. I know. And as far as other interesting things go, aside from Bly doing that double extractor trick off the pool first again, he immediately, we noticed this because we have this observer thing where we can see where the players are looking now, which is an amazing technology that somehow never existed before. But the first thing Bly does every game, if the map has a gold base of any kind, gas or mineral, is you'll see his camera go there. He'll immediately hotkey it. Not necessarily because he's going to take it, but he has to have that option open at all times.
Okay, so this was actually big. KingCobra anticipated this move, and he sent out a probe through the right side of the map. That's not the natural run that probe would actually, or the drone rather, would actually take. But yeah, he spotted the drone that was coming in for a proxy hatchery once again. Bly, though, immediately had another plan. Wanted to go for a follow-up proxy, it seemed, in the main base of the Protoss, and then he settled for taking the gas instead. Still a little bit annoying, because Cobra actually already put down the forge. So honestly, this may actually still be a net positive for Zerg. Because just sending out a drone apparently forces out both the forge as well as the photon cannon, and it delays the gases a lot. So even though Bly didn't really spend any resources on any of this, it's still dealing damage.
Yeah, I think that's one of the other side effects of Bly's reputation. You have to be afraid. You have to take him seriously. It's like I'm gonna keep up my horror movie references all month. It's like Scream. You don't know which person in the house is the killer. You just know he's there. You just have to be ready at any time. It's horrifying.
I feel like you're gonna be a little disappointed in me when I tell you I've seen very few horror movies.
That's okay. It's okay. You're young, Loco. You've got a lot of years to make the right choices. I believe in you.
I think I'm older than you, Nate. I actually don't know. I'll get there one day.
I don't know. I've got I think 3 months until I'm 30. So.
Ooh, I'm turning 30 later this month. I'm entering boomer territory.
We're pretty
I
close
believe.
then.
Yeah. I've never really watched a lot of horror movies. Maybe October is the time to get started.
Yeah, a spooky month for a reason. At least you gotta throw cobwebs all over your house so that you can spend 7 hours cleaning them up on November 1st. That's also very important.
All right, so this is after the attempted proxy hatch, a relatively normal game. Bly decided to go triple hatch on the back of this. We have once again... Actually, I was going to say we should once again have a Stargate here as a follow-up, I believe, judging by the gas count and all that. But KingCobra, because he got that gas thrown in the main base, is actually in a very awkward spot now. Like, he hasn't had enough gas to really go for any tech. He still decides to go Stargate, so that doesn't surprise me too much, but...
I feel like there's extra strain on that too, because you point that out, but he also delayed his warp gate until the Stargate started. So he probably wanted to have that gas a little sooner so we could get both of them around a similar time. So
right.
That Stargate makes sense. If I'm thinking about the last game in context of this one, I'm just starting to wonder now, how many hatcheries will Bly build before he gets aggressive, right? Is he getting like 6 again? Or maybe we do a little bit more. Maybe it's just a 3-base thing. Yeah.
I'm wondering if KingCobra is going to move out in this game. That's what I'm wondering about right now. Because in the previous 2 games, after he got to this point, he just decided, you know what? I am going to sit and just make a bunch of flying units. And it's a pretty great strategy, not going to lie, but Bly, read him like a book in the second game, and I wouldn't be surprised if indeed he is going to take a 4th hatch very soon, and maybe even a 5th hatchery, right? Maybe make a couple units here and there, but he's scouting once again. He sees the Void Ray.
And this has to be the least surprising thing because he's been pretty consistently doing this every matchup. The only thing that really stands out is the Twilight Council came before the Fleet Beacon, which I mean that's definitely a big change up here. And the Oracle as a follow-up would be something that we haven't seen as much of. So I like that. 'Cause maybe a little bit more back to basics. I think he has to respect that if he tries to do a build that requires a huge windup, that with that rush distance you were mentioning, if Bly wanted to punish him for that, it would be a lot easier to do so here.
Okay, so there is a 3rd Nexus coming up around the same time as the 4th for the Zerg. Like, don't get me wrong, I really think it's great if KingCobra can eventually get towards that maxed out army. It's obviously very, very strong. But it's like, okay, there's an early game plan and then there's a late game plan. But there's, like 15 minutes in between those 2 points where the strategy seems to be to mostly sit back. And I think that works really well if you're playing like one-off ladder games, but in a best-of-3 series, look at Bly. He knows exactly what he's playing against, makes just the right amount of Zerglings, forces the cancel. Yeah, it's going to be really hard to stop Bly at this point.
Yeah, and I think you made a great call out there too. Like he just knows. He's very familiar with the way that KingCobra has been playing this. So even though he did try to get into that gateway setup and get the Templar Archives too, instead of going straight for air, still didn't really have that many units actually prepared to hold on to that. So the pressure coming in from Bly just makes a whole lot of sense given that his creep spread on this map, you're like 2 screens from the 3rd. You're 2 screens from his 3rd. So if he needs to make that push, if he's rallying forward, you are going to struggle.
Okay, so Bly decides to go Hydras this time around. No Spire, fair enough. Hydras obviously would have been fantastic actually in the previous game as well, so wouldn't mind seeing that. That Oracle achieving very little. KingCobra does have ground units, by the way. He's finishing up Charge right now. But last games he also got Charge, and while most players when they go for the Charge upgrade go for a pretty aggressive attack on the back of it, he decided to sit back for the most part. Like in my mind, when you go for Charge this quickly, you kind of have to get something done. He goes Fleet Beacon again.
No, this was all. I mean, he did this just because he knew we were gonna give him crap if he went straight for the Fleet Beacon. So he's like, I'll get everything else first this time,
right?
Then go. There's no way Bly will see this coming. The Overseer, of course, immediately scouts it, so not much of a secret. And the Zealots don't have +1, so the Lings rip them to pieces.
Yeah, you brought up that creep spread, and it's already looking fantastic once again. We have a healthy number of Queens out. They're very good when they can transfuse. Obviously, in the most recent balance patch in StarCraft 2, we, as Zergs at least, lost the ability to transfuse off creep, but Bly is just bringing the creep towards the other side of the map, no problem. So he's going Roach, Hydra, Queen. I mean, again, KingCobra's army is going to be strong when he maxes out, but he's still minutes away from that. It's not even close.
Yeah, and I think it makes it a little bit easier because Bly is not only spreading the creep and eating the map up, but that creep is going to reach the either 4th base option for KingCobra soon too. So you're trying to go for a big air army. It's going to cost a lot of money. 3 bases, it ain't what it used to be back in the day when you had 1,500 minerals on every patch. It's he's going to run out of money pretty quickly if he doesn't find a way to get that next base.
Is that how we're going to have to talk in a couple months' time? When we're both 30?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think we have to.
Back in our day, our mineral patches used to be twice as big.
And we're never allowed to queue up again. We can only play Mech Terran and Brood War and read Mario copy pasta, I think is what happens, yeah.
Maybe the occasional round of Direct Strike.
Yeah.
That'll be what we do.
As long as you don't pick any units that you can micro, it's very important. No hero modes.
True. Anyways, it's a very quick Mothership together with Tempest here from KingCobra, so he is mixing it up, but mixing it up with a very similar approach. So he's still planning to sit back. That's a lot of High Templar, yeah. I think originally he was going to get stormed. Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah.
It deals friendly fire, for anyone wondering. Yeah, so
I like the one Archon morph. The Archon morph was the correct move.
Yes,
I think he could have morphed. I think he could have morphed more of them, maybe. But he didn't lose everything, so I'll give him points for that.
True. Yeah, Bly actually thought he was going to get stormed a little sooner, so I decided, you know what? I'll just jump on those High Templar if I have the option. Okay, so there's a little bit of a move out here, and his hatchery is certainly going to fall. But it's still... Hey, there's the Ultra Cavern. There's still 4-base Zerg going up against 3-base Protoss. But we saw how it went, though, in game number 1, right? Given enough time, this Protoss army is not going to stop.
No, it is not. I do think, again, that 4th base becomes a big question mark. The steamroller is slowly coming. I'm like, that creep takes a while to spread. Build the Nexus. Okay, there we go. So he starts the Nexus up. There's Templar. He has Tempest. Hydra shouldn't be able to push into this base. So solid defensive setup from KingCobra. Now get the creep out from in between your bases before these Hydras walk over there in 3 seconds and just go, knock that bad boy down.
Ultra Hydra Viper. Curious unit composition, but it should do quite well. Yeah, just Hydras alone are not as strong, but I mean, against small numbers of Zealots, if they're being, just sprinkled in one at a time, they're gonna be pretty good. Mothership. Okay, that was a little ambitious.
Diving the mothership is, it's you never know what's gonna be underneath it. You know what they say. You gotta really be careful about those moves. So now Corruptors are gonna come out too. I think the Corruptors have worked really well for Bly. Every time that he's been able to force the fight with the air side of things, he did it. The only reason why it cost him the first game is because he didn't give himself an out from those Corruptors. So I don't even think it's bad if he goes back into that, but he just needs to, at some point when he's maxed out and has 2,000 gas and 2,000 minerals and 7 bases, just build a greater spire, please. And then that will not happen to you again. I promise. Well, I can't promise that. You might kill it, but build 2 then. I don't know.
Even though Bly has had way more bases than KingCobra the entire game, he hasn't got that much more stuff. Like, the trades haven't really been that efficient. The creep spread is looking excellent, but... Okay, now he's finally adding on some more drones. I've got a feeling we are once again headed in the direction of that first game. Even though KingCobra is moving very slowly, he is moving.
Gets the yoink.
There you go. Hey, Hydra Corruptor. That's a killer unit composition.
Yeah, I've heard only the best use that one.
That's an
so 2 more star. 2 more star. I'll be honest with you. I didn't catch the reference, but Guy in chat had my back, so shout out to you.
Oh, okay.
2 more Stargates are coming through and another mothership. So everybody will get their chance to type 400 in chat again. I know that's really important to you.
Yes.
We're here to make your dreams come true at DreamHack Masters, and KingCobra, trying to make his dreams come true, does land a couple of solid storms to push the army away from his 3rd. And hey, he got up to 4 bases. And I think the other side of the coin for the map on this game is that there's not as many bases to mine out for Bly. So you can't quite play the same level of War of Attrition because you'll run out of money a little faster just because the map is smaller. So if KingCobra can get that big army, he won't have very far to go to push. And that'll make the part where he builds hatcheries in each corner of the map a lot more difficult too.
So Ultras are coming up again. In this particular case, though, they have not been scouted yet. And he's going for the speed upgrade, too. That's important, right? We found that out in the previous game, too. Or 2 maps ago, anyways. Don't storm that. Don't storm. Okay. I was thinking about it. You can see him thinking with the High Templar.
As soon as we started looking at it, I'm like, no. So let's go to the northeast. They get killed. We got a bunch of Banelings. We got Lynx. We got Ultras. And another mothership is out. 3 carriers in production. So we are almost there. We're getting as close as possible to the game 1 setup as we can. Don't worry, guys. We will get there.
Yeah, Bly is dealing damage here and there, and he's kind of like stabbing his opponent here and there, but he's not really dealing any critical damage. Okay, that was good. Very important to storm that early. Shuts that down easy peasy. Probes stay alive. Now the Ultras are here, but yeah, they get spotted, so Immortals are going to be fantastic. I wouldn't mind seeing a Greater Spire right about right now.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe he wants to spend a little money to retake this base first. He queued up a creep tumor that he can't place, I feel, every time. But build a Greater Spire. Give yourself the out. And is it just because he doesn't want to build a second one and he's just greedy with the upgrade?
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of money, actually. Like, normally when we see Zergs playing like this, they have, like 100 drones mining. But Bly doesn't actually have much. Yeah, here comes the army again.
Yeah.
The bulldozer needed to be powered up. Ignition is here. Had to be filled up with diesel, but... It's starting to move.
It takes a little bit. It takes a little bit more to get all that filled up these days. So he's taking his time. But the +3 upgrades are all finishing. So I feel like this was the key point of underestimation in that first game, was that he thought the Ultras would be great because it's like, oh, you'll be High Templar and Archons underneath.
Very brave.
He's got two Immortals. He's getting a few more. The Baneling doesn't have +2, so the probe is totally fine. It survives. And
you're right.
Yeah, he's gonna have the +3 Immortals on the ground again. And
yeah,
the
it's gonna
+3
do
Archons
so much
to
damage.
one-shot the Lings.
So, yeah, even though Bly has been trying his hardest to prevent Protoss from getting to this spot, KingCobra eventually got there. He didn't get there in the cleanest of ways. He lost a lot of units along the way, but he got there eventually, and I think that's really all that matters. They're now becoming next-door neighbors here on the right side of the map. You pointed out as well that there's not really that many mining bases, but I do believe that KingCobra is soon gonna start chugging along this map.
He needs to move to the 5th now, because the main he's weirdly been harassed enough that his main base has more mineral patches than his natural, it looked like, for a second, or his 3rd, but he's running out of time with that. And this Baneling, he's playing a little dodgeball over here.
Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Still no +2. Okay, there's some mothership getting abducted. Oh, double abduction just for good measure.
It may be the slowest unit Protoss can build, but you'd be damn sure if Bly's not going to let it get away.
Okay, here come the High Templar. They do get blown up. Massive fungal growth as well. There's still a lot of Protoss units available, though, and even though that was a lot of damage dealt by Zerg, he also lost his entire army in the process.
That just has the Corruptors. He's rebuilding 6 Ultralisks.
Of course.
And his Corruptors are pretty low. The only thing I'm going to say is he is getting a Greater Spire. So I don't know if that's going to be killed before it matters, but it is happening.
I think you're right, though. Those Corruptors are not enough to actually deal with this army right now.
Yeah, the Ultralisk card question mark. This is, I feel like I'm in a fever dream. This is game 1 all over again on just like a slightly smaller scale.
This is Bly's nightmare for the next week. This is all he can see when he closes his eyes at night. He sees himself making Ultras into Immortals. Okay, let's see how this goes. Luckily there, though, for Bly, there wasn't much in the way of splitting against that parasitic bomb, so all of those Protoss units lost a ton of their shields. They are now finally getting it back, but at the very least, I think that prevented that Protoss army from just marching straight to the natural. Okay, another abduction. This is dealing damage now, though.
He yoinked the 1/10th and then went for the next one before he killed the first one, so
it's about sending a message.
Extra. I see. Yeah, he wants the moral victory, right?
Exactly.
It's like I know the objective of the game is to kill your buildings, and we almost did that in game 1, but I'd really like to just break you.
All right, so we're going up to a lot of Ultralisks again. I'm not sure. The Corruptor's actually getting getting shot at by these Archons. Archons getting good work done. Good storm.
He's still building more. Yeah. So that's the other thing too. The Corruptors have been taking an absolute beating in this match. Comes up, does get one of the carriers, steps in and gets a Tempest as well, but he lost so many more of the Corruptors, and the Ultralisks, as you've been pointing out, they're not the answer to this.
No,
at all.
Ultras can be quite good, but as soon as Immortals are mixed in, it's just not ideal.
There's 3+3 Immortals, and the Archons are not horrible against them with that support, so...
All right, so Cobra is moving slowly. A little too slow for my liking, but I think he's moving fast enough. Okay. Almost. Oh, no. Oh, no.
The double yoink.
Don't give the Jet
triple
satisfaction. Oh, my God. They are going to get the satisfaction.
I was made for one. It's like as the mothership's being grabbed, he's like, this is what I was born for.
I was made for the entertainment of the chat. You know what? I appreciate it. I think a lot of KingCobra fans are now aware of this Protoss player, and, you know, they didn't know the name already. They'll remember.
My time has come.
Here I go.
He's got the Ultras. He's got the Ultras in the bottom left. He's building another mothership, though. Don't worry, guys. We know you were really concerned about that.
The Ultras are gonna now run up that ramp, and since there's some queens on creep, they're gonna be transfused back up to full, so that's nice. But here's the problem. There's a massive Protoss army in the main base. Okay, some abductions. Once again, a little bit of damage being done.
I think does he have recall available? He does.
Oh my god, it's just so good.
Does he pull the army back? Does he just keep trading slowly against the corruptors here? If he lets this base die, then I start to feel like Bly has a chance in this game again.
Yeah, I thought Bly was basically lost here. Ooh, I thought he was basically lost here, but those last couple of abductions have been really nice. We need to learn the value of a carrier and a Tempest and all those other units as well, so we can, you know, type those when they're abducted. But
that's very true. Well, people like to argue about the carrier. You know, do you include the interceptors because they die when the carrier dies?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, but not the first 4 because those are built into the cost. Those are free. Okay, there we go. Big storm on the corruptors, cutting them down. Bly just doesn't have enough.
No,
for what it's worth. This many, there are probably times where doing this Ultralisk move has won many Zergs a random ladder game, but to make this the response to this type of army, I think we're seeing where the weakness of that lies, because KingCobra, he could have been really greedy and just had High Templar underneath, but Archons are good still a little bit. You know, you can beat them with the Ultras, but the Immortals, he's made sure he just had 4 more come out of his main base now as well, so.
Yeah, so rather than
absolutely gone.
Yeah, rather than going armor upgrades or shield upgrades or anything, you pointed that out as well. Like, he's decided to just go attack upgrades on those Immortals, and they absolutely destroy the Ultralisk. So maybe that's why Bly is not as comfortable playing against this sort of thing. Maybe most Protoss he goes up against are not going straight +3 attack in this sort of scenario, but yeah, unupgraded Ultras, or unupgraded Immortals rather, wouldn't do so well with these Ultralisks. But at this point, KingCobra has gone all the way back home, and now he's decided to move towards the left side. This is the last mining base of Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, this is really it. There's not much else you can do. The mothership is there, given that buff, given all that damage, and GG is called KingCobra.